Hello. In this video, we're going to talk about how to use paragraphing effectively. And what this really means is how to organize longer essays and the parts of a longer essay and how those things work together. We've already talked about how to organize clear and focused body paragraphs. We've learned that whenever we're writing a body paragraph, we want to include a strong and clear topic sentence. From a strong and clear topic sentence, we want to make sure that we include supporting sentences that help to explain or illustrate that topic sentence. And then finally, we want to end with a concluding sentence that sort of sums up what we've talked about, points us back to the topic, and or transitions to the next paragraph in the sequence. We can think about an essay as just being an extended body paragraph. An essay begins with an introduction. Each of your body paragraphs then work to support or build back into that introduction. And then finally, we end with a conclusion that explains once again to the reader why it is that the body paragraphs do, in fact, support that introduction or the thesis statement that is included in the introduction. We're going to break this video into a three-part sequence, and we're going to start first by focusing on introductions. Now, we've talked about introductions before, and we said that introductions generally include three parts. They have a hook, which is intended to grab the reader's attention. They have a bridge, which provides general background information about the topic. And they include a thesis. And the thesis statement is the sentence or sentences in your paper that express the main idea or the main argument that you are going to make. When we think about writing introductions, we want to make sure that we include all of those parts, right? So we're going to start by introducing our audience to the topic of the paper. We're going to make sure that we grab their attention. There's a number of ways we can do that. We can do that with beginning with a fact. We can begin with a quote. We can begin with an interesting anecdote or short story. We can share an example. There are any number of ways to grab the reader's attention, but these are just some of the ones that we've talked about in this class so far. From there, we're going to give the background information about the topic. This is not getting into our body paragraphs, but it's just giving a little bit of detail in order to provide some context to the reader. We're then going to help the audience make connections between that topic and the main idea of the rest of the paper. And that is what leads us up to our thesis statement. And we're generally going to end our introductions with a thesis statement. Let's take a look at an example. This example comes from your Foundations of English Hawkes Learning textbook, and it is an introductory paragraph on the topic of post-traumatic stress disorder in children. So let's go ahead and read the paragraph together and see if we can identify the three parts of the introduction. Although the medical community studies post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, extensively in adults, psychiatrists conduct much less research on the way the disorder affects children. In fact, only during the last 20 years have psychiatrists noticed growing occurrences of PTSD in individuals under the age of 18. On the Anxiety Disorders Association of America website, Stephanie Sampson notes that children develop PTSD much more easily than adults because of children's, quote, limited coping and communication skills, the powerful influence of media exposure, such as television, and the often insufficient attention focused on early identification and intervention. Additionally, many parents are unaware of the effects of trauma on their children. The ignorance surrounding post-traumatic stress disorder demonstrates how much more research and awareness is needed by psychiatrists. So let's break this down. This is a very well-developed introductory paragraph. It begins by starting with a shocking fact. Our fact that hooks the reader in is that the medical community is not studying PTSD in children. We then get a little bit of background explaining what effects PTSD have on young people in general, and the lack of focus that has existed on PTSD in children. We get about 3 sentences that provide that background information. Finally, we arrive at our thesis statement, which is the last sentence in the introduction, and that sentence reads, "The ignorance surrounding post-traumatic stress disorder demonstrates how much more research and awareness is needed by psychiatrists." So, based on this thesis statement, we can assume that the rest of the paper is going to prove to us or try to persuade us that we need more research and more awareness about PTSD in children. Notice how the introduction sets us up by hooking the reader, providing a little bit of background information, and then providing a clear thesis statement that allows us to know what to expect the rest of the paper is going to be about. In the next video, we're going to talk about body paragraphs and how body paragraphs are aligned to support the introduction in an essay.